All right, so let's say thank you to that lady. Okay, so let us start. That's Exodus chapter 32, verse 1. Okay. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mountain, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. Now this is indicative of the children of Israel, period, right? This is something that happens to us over and over again. For a while we're good, and then as soon as we are, I'm not even going to say not good, but as soon as we feel as though we're not good, we go astray. We just fall off almost immediately and go into something else. So that's exactly what's happening right here. Moses is in the Mount Zion with the Most High, and he's been gone for a short while, and the children of Israel are already starting to wonder, like, we don't even know where he is. Like, is he still alive? Why are we waiting on him? Anything could have happened to him up there in that mountain. To their defense, though, remember what they saw that Moses walked into, right? The Most High there's a cloud, and there was smoke, and there was fire, and there's thunderings and all of that. And Moses walked into that to be with the Most High. So them seeing that, they're like, there's no way Moses lived through that. He up there dead on that mountain somewhere. So they immediately start going astray, going to their own devices. In verse 2, and Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. Now, something right here in verse 2. I believe it's Jehovah's Witness who said that women can't, they can't wear makeup, they can't wear jewelry like bracelets and earrings and things like that. But here it is clearly in the scripture where Aaron says that not only did the women have on earrings, but also the young men. So this is something that's not unlawful for us. Like, we can wear earrings. Verse 3. And all the people break off their golden earrings, which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them, and he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Verse 5. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast to Yahuwah. And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. So there's a lot in all of this, really. But in verses 5 and 6, what did you guys see happening?
What was the question?
In verses 5 and 6, what do you guys see happening in regards to the children of Israel and what's happening?
I see that Aaron, who was supposed to be a leader, or at least supposed to be in charge, is not. And because he's clearly confused, the people then start to worship this idol. They offer sacrifices before this idol.
That's one thing. Well, that's a few things, right? Bad leadership. Because at this time, remember, Aaron is high priest. Aaron and his sons, they're high priests at this time, so they should know better, right? So bad leadership, yep. And because of that, the children of Israel begin to worship this calf or these calves or whatever it may be, because you'll see it in plural a few times. So they begin to do that. They begin to make sacrifices. What else do you see?
The people had convinced themselves that they were actually worshiping
the Most High because they said it was a feast to him.
Right? That is something strange, because it's not even just the people did it. Aaron says tomorrow is a feast to Yahuwah, to the Lord. But Aaron knows who Yahuwah is. This isn't anything new to him. So why would he say that this calf or that these gods are Yahuwah? What else do you guys see? Who knows? Who can tell me what the first commandment is?
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. What did they just do intentionally?
Created a new God, built an altar to make offering and sacrifices to it.
There you go. So not only did Aaron build a calf, he built a god, a graven image. We're about to get into that. He also built an altar. Right? So let's jump back to Exodus chapter 20, and we're going to read verse 3. Right? So this is the first commandment. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 3. And it reads, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." This is the first commandment. When the Pharisees later on asked Hamashiach, what is the greatest commandment? The first thing that he says is, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and strength. Right? That will be the greatest commandment. A part of that is this: thou shalt have no other gods before me. That's how you love the Most High. Right? The very first thing that he says to you as far as commandments goes, don't have no other gods before me. This is first on my list. I'm jealous. Don't do that. So we go from there. They've broken that. Now we're going to continue reading. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, or thy Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Now, this is how the Most High sees this. Having another El or another God before the Most High, he considers that hating him. Because we see in verse 3, don't have any other gods before me. And then he explains in verses 4 and 5 how you can put another God before him. By making a graven image of any likeness of anything in heaven, in the water, or on the earth, and then bowing yourself down to it, serving it. He says, for I am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So if you do these things with another God, you have made this thing another God in front of the Most High God, right? So now he considers that you hate him. And let's go back to, what is this here? So let's go back to Exodus 32 and see what happens. Let's plan this out. When we get to verse 5, and when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. So the first thing Aaron did was he built this calf. He built this graven image. Then he built an altar for it. Then he called it the Most High. He gave it his title. He called it Yahuwah, right? That is the true name of the Most High Elohim. So he called it the Most High Elohim's name. They broke the first commandment. But something that we might miss in this example that the Most High is giving us about what Aaron and the children of Israel did, even though this is an egregious example of what they did, this is also how the Most High wants us to worship him and us to serve him. right? Because what is it that made the Most High angry? That they put another El before him and they served it and worshiped it like he wants to be served and worshiped. Check out verse 6. And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. That's what they were doing to this false deity, to this golden calf. That's one of the things that upset the Most High. Like, you guys are worshiping it and serving it how I told you to worship me. So you're going to put this thing above me, and then you're going to turn around and worship it and serve it like I told you how to do? Talk about a slap in the face. I just brought you guys out of the worst time period that you've ever known. It was me. You see, you guys know what I can do. You know that I am your God and none else. You guys know that I, through Moses, brought you guys out of Egypt. This is no surprise to you. There's nothing new to you. Already at this point, you guys have already accepted my covenant. There's no surprise here. So now I'm sitting here and I'm talking to Moses. And while I'm talking to Moses, you guys are over here acting like fools, like you don't even know me, like you've never seen me before. And on top of that, you're going to put some golden calf over me and then worship it and serve it? Are you guys crazy? But like I said, this is an egregious example, but it's something that we should learn. So when we ask the question, how do we worship, right? What is worship? We all know what praise is. What is worship? Worship is this right here. Burnt offerings and peace offerings, and sitting down and eating and drinking and playing, which means to be merry before the Most High. That's what it is. When we celebrate with one another, like on the feast days, when we celebrate with one another, that's a worship to the Most High. That's a form of worship for the Most High. So I need y'all to keep that one right there. If you ever want to know what worship is, what is one form of worship? It's right there in verse 6. All right, so we're going to continue on. Let's go to verse 7. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. Cain, absolutely, Yahu. They were also gathered together to be merry. Absolutely. That's what they were doing in verse 6. So verse 7. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Go get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt. For thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed thereunto and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So you see this, they have worshipped it and they have sacrificed thereunto. And what did they do? We saw what they did. That's how you worship. And he says, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So they're giving the credit that belongs to the Most High. They're giving it to these fake golden calves, or these fake deities that Aaron has made, right? So it's one thing to just say it, but then it's another thing to give the credit that is due the Most High to some dumb idol or to anything else, right? To anything else. So let's see just how bad this was. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and we'll start at verse 18. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 18. Okay. What profiteth the graven image that the maker thereof hath graven it? A molten image and a teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusteth therein to make dumb idols. Right? So we see this is exactly what Aaron has done. This is what Aaron did. Woe unto him that saith to the wood, Awake, to the dumb stone, arise, it shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. This is exactly what Aaron did. So by making these idols, this graven image that he did, the Most High says that it is a teacher of lies. Now we're going to see how that plays into what Aaron did in just a minute, in just a couple verses. Dawood, I see your hand. Go ahead, Doc.
I was trying to wait till you finish your thought, but I can't. Okay. So when you get to Shemot 32, right, or Exodus 32, right where Don just read, I believe that's verse what?
8.
7. Oh, yeah, 7 to 8. Okay. It said, and Yahuwah said unto Moshe, go get thee down, for your people which you brought out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it and sacrificed thereunto and said, these be thy Elohim, O Yisrael, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt. Does anybody notice anything that's kind of weird in that statement? If I may, Nakemia.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Other than the fact that he said, go get your people.
That's exactly the key. The Most High said, Moshe, you need to go get your people. Now, you in the book of Exodus, right? Prior to that, he says over like maybe, let's see, I'm gonna say over 15 times, right? My people. Even when Moshe is speaking on behalf of him to Paro, he says, tell Paro, says the Yahuwah Elohim, let my people go, so they shall worship me, so on and so forth, right? But immediately as they turn their back on the Creator, he say, Moshe, now they your people.
Yeah.
So for us living in this captivity, are we really the people of Yah? Because if we're not acting like it, as we see in this example, he disowns you.
Quickly.
Very quickly. He like, you know what? I don't know these people. As soon as they come back to the form of which I have made them in, then they will again be my people.
And funny, so at least this is something we just went over last night. That's in Hosea, that's 2 Chronicles 7 and 14. And there's also Hosea chapter 5 and verse 15. If my people who are called by my name would first humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. Jania, I see your hand. Give me 1 second. And then Hosea 5 and 15, he says that I will go and return unto my place until they have acknowledged their offense. So if you out here cutting up until you acknowledge your offense, he done turned away from you. So just like Dawood was just saying, just like Aki Dawood was just saying, he will disown you quickly. So in this captivity and in this time, can we honestly call ourselves the people of the Most High? Well, we can say that, but will he say that? Will he claim you if you're not doing what you're supposed to do? That's a great question. Jania, you had something you wanted to say too?
Oh no, I lowered my hand because me and my email were talking about that probably like a month ago. I had brung that out to her and it said, look, and he's quickly like, look, go get your peoples. It's like, you know, we black, he black. He said, go get your peoples. I don't mess with them no more. And then a couple of verses later, which you're going, Moshe is like, no, you mean your people.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So we see, but this also shows us, it's like how easily our sins can beset us or can come in between us and the Most High. Very easily. And he is, we can call him petty, we can call him jealous, we can call him austere, we can call him serious, however you want to say it. He does not play games. He does not play games like that. So when you say you're going to be his people, he holds you to that. All right, we're going to see. But as soon as you step out of line, just a little bit, he's just waiting for the opportunity to correct you, first off. And he's also just like, you ain't representing me out here cutting up. Nah, that ain't my people. Because remember, he does that to the entirety of the northern 10 tribes. You can see that in Hosea chapter 1 or 2. When he tells them they are no longer my people. Leave them alone. Let them go on about their business. So absolutely, all praises to the Most High. Verse 9. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. So right here in verse 10, the Most High reveals a lot about his character and a lot about what he can do and a lot about his intentions. Before I give away the answer, why does the Most High say that, let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them? What is that alluding to?
He's trying to figure out a way how he's going to punish us.
He's trying to figure out how he's going to punish him. And he's thinking about it. He was like, just leave me alone for a minute. Let me be angry so that I can figure this thing out, how I'm going to deal with them. Is there a scripture? There are several. Can anyone think of a scripture where the Most High talks about, I don't want to give it away. Let's do it this way. Turn to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28.
Doesn't he say that same thing in Deuteronomy?
He says it a bunch of times. I told you, he says, I have seen these people, right? He's not just talking about in the past tense. He's not saying, oh yeah, I've seen what you guys have done in the past. No, he said, I have seen these people, meaning he knows our ending. Because he says before, I know the end from the beginning. So he says, I know you guys. And y'all, this is going to be a cycle. And you're going to see that. You can see proof of that a little later. He said, this is going to be a cycle, and y'all make me sick. Y'all are stiff-necked sometimes. So Hebrews chapter 12, starting at verse 28. It says, wherefore we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace, whereby we may serve Elohim acceptably with reverence and godly fear. For our Elohim is a consuming fire. Right? So the Most High he's showing his character. This is how I deal. When he says to Moses, leave me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them. The Most High is a consuming fire. When he's upset at you, yes, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna burn some stuff out of you. Sometimes that stuff that I burn out of you may be people. I may kill a few of y'all. That's just how he is. That's just how he operates. That's his character. And he says, and I will make of thee a great nation. This also speaks to his character. I don't need 1,000,000 of y'all. I don't. I know the last time I restarted with Noah and the 8, I don't need that many. I can restart this whole thing with just you. That shows how much power he has. He's like, I don't need a whole nation right now. No, I can get to a whole nation with just you. Because he tells Moses, he said, he doesn't say I will make you a nation or a small nation. He says, I will make of thee a great nation. So out of you alone, I will bring out a great nation. So a large group of people. I have no problems doing that. I got time, I can wait, and I have power, and I can do whatever I want. That's the Most High. So from there, let's continue on to verse, yes. Dawood, you had something else?
Yes, sir. Once again, if I may.
Oh, absolutely. If I may.
All right, so verse 9, well, verse 9 and 10, right? Why is the Most High, I know you just asked this question, but why is the Most High telling Moshe to leave him alone? Really? Say, look, I seen these people, they're gonna get on my nerves. quite a bit in the future. Moshe, leave me alone so I can just destroy him. Leave me alone. Why is he telling him to leave him alone? I don't like y'all because y'all are
Moshe,
just like,
like,
okay,
No.
thank you, sir.
but if
No.
you read, if you read on, it's like how to do it. How to, I don't know. I kind of want to say like he was like that reflection. Like Moshe was like that reflection of what he promised. Like he couldn't do that thing with him standing right there. Like I don't know how to word it, but
I got you. I
you
got you.
understand what I'm saying? Like Moshe was like, he was like a reflection of those people that I want so bad to love me the right way. Look, I need you to go away so I can forget that I love these people so much and I want to do what I need to do. But as long as you're here, I can't be angry at him like that. I'm going to forgive him and be willing to forgive him as long as I can see that love that I want to have for him.
Okay, so
Hold on,
take
wait.
that.
Hold on, wait. Go ahead, Mom.
And
And
also, this is new for Moses too, having to lead this many people. Can he be testing Moses to see if Moses I've given you this people to take to guide. Are you gonna fight for him? Are you gonna try to convince me, Moses?
Absolutely, Mama. Absolutely. See, you just got to wait for the wisdom to come. First, the younger wisdom, then the more mature wisdom, and it always gives you the right answer. Thank you, Mama. Yes, this is for Moses. He said, "Get away from me so I can destroy it. Because if you stay, I already know that you are a mediator.
and you're going to convince me to not."
Yes, and you're going to talk me down, just like his forefather, who?
Ooh. Abraham.
Yes, sir. Abraham, which is this is the Torah portion that we're doing today, right? So Wayirah, right? And he appeared and he said, yo, should I not tell Abraham what I'm about to do? Look, Solomon's wicked. I'm about to go down there, and if they are what they say, if they are what the cries say, I'm going to destroy them. And the key is that he said, for I have chosen him, right, to teach his children justice and judgment, right? And justice and judgment. So then he tells him what's going on. And then Abraham does the exact same thing. He says, well, will you destroy the righteous with the wicked? He doesn't say don't destroy them. He said, will you destroy the righteous with the wicked? As in proving himself to be wise enough to know justice and also to know judgment. So the Most High always does this with those whom he is grooming to be a leader, right? He always tests you to know whether or not you are wise enough to distinguish and to know wisdom, justice, or righteousness. It was the word that was used, righteousness and judgment. Because if you are, then that means that you will then impart that into those that are under you.
Okay. All praises. Now I'm gonna let that slide one time for you digging in my notes like that.
I told you if I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be
Oh,
quiet.
no, it's all good. All praises to the Most High. I mean, we want in the spirit on the same road. All praises to the Most High. Aliyahu, I saw you briefly raise your hand. Was there something you wanted to add to that, Op?
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Op.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. No, Cain, as Dawood reflected upon what your Ema said, that was spot on. And if I will, I'll just dig that trench a little further and give it back. But so obviously, sometimes when I talk, I refer to Enoch, I refer to Jubilees, right? But now I'm gonna introduce a new one to y'all. The Most High kind of did this with Moses, and Dawood is right, and with his connection to Abraham and Sodom and Gomorrah, right? But prior to that, in a book called The Testament or Apocalypse of Abraham, the Most High had to teach or show Abraham judgment. And so there was a malach or an angel who was taking Abraham around and showing him different things. And Yahuwah had told the malach, whatever Abraham asked for, to give it, to do it for him. So while the malach was taking Abraham around, Abraham came to a spot where he saw a woman, I think it was a man and a woman committing fornication. And Abraham said to the angel, he said, Malak, do you not see these two people fornicating? And the Malak said, yes. And then Abraham said, destroy them. And Yahuwah had already told the Malak to do whatever Abraham said. And so the Malak destroyed them. And so after he destroyed them, they proceeded to move forward. Abraham came to another spot where he saw a man, I think, robbing somebody or something like that. And Abraham said to the Malak, he said, do you not see this man? I think it was like a young man robbing an older man or something of that nature. He said, do you not see this young boy robbing this old man? And the Malak said, yes. And Abraham said, destroy him. So the Malak destroyed him. And then they moved on, and then they came to another couple, another woman who was caught in adultery. And Abraham said the same thing. Do you see the woman? He said, yes. He said, destroy her. And the Malak did. At that point, Yahuwah stepped in and said to the Malak, he told the Malak, take Abraham home, for he is not like me, and I need to teach him justice and mercy for the sinner. And so then later, when you come to the Sodom and Gomorrah piece, this is where Abraham had got that, okay, wait a minute, let me show forth some of this mercy that I have learned henceforth. And so when he gets to Moses, it's almost like the same thing. It's not that Moses had an experience like that I won't really go into, but it's like, okay, Moses, leave me alone. I'm going to destroy these people. But like Dawood brought out, and like you brought out, Moshe is a mediator. If he doesn't mediate, he's not doing what he's called to do. So he's not doing what he's called to do. He's not atoning on the behalf of those who, and we have to look at it like this, because at that point, none of the children of Israel knew Yahuwah like Moses. The Most High hadn't revealed himself in a burning bush to none of the other folk. They all had their knowledge of Yahuwah through Moshe and whatever Moshe said. So, hallelujah. So,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was that same train of let me alone, because as you keep reading, you'll see exactly what Moshe is going to do.
Absolutely. Cain, and that's exactly where I was about to go, and that's what was in my notes. So absolutely, this was a test for Moses. This was a moment for the Most High to see, like, okay, how is he going to judge and how is he going to act? Is he going to be the one to step up for his people? Is he going to be that mediator that I've called him to be, right? And so in verse 10, just like Dawood said, just like my mom said, just like Eliyahu was saying, in verse 10, the Most High presents him with a test. Now, therefore, let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. Verse 11, and Moses brought Yahuwah his Elohim and said, he besought Yahuwah his Elohim and said, Yahuwah, why doth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? So now it's not as though he's questioning the Most High. It's just that he's bringing before the Most High the things that the Most High has said. So in verse 12, wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains and to consume them from the face of the earth? So now he's like, so you did all of that. You tore up the Egyptians on behalf of the children of Israel. Now you're going to give them people a chance to say, well, did he just bring them out just so he can kill him in the wilderness? So he says to the Most High, turn from thy fierce wrath and repent of this evil against thy people. Now, when Moses tells the Most High to repent, what is he actually telling him? Or it's not so much him giving the Most High a command, he's making a request. What is he requesting from the Most High?
He's requesting from the Most High to forgive the people.
Not only just to forgive the people, that's partly right, but what else? In his forgiving the people, he's asking the Most High to do what?
Not destroy them.
He's asking to not destroy them. But we have to notice something here. He's not telling him not to punish them. Absolutely, there it is, Eliyahu. He's not telling him not to punish the children of Israel. He's saying, dial it back a little bit. Still punish them, but be merciful. Right? It literally just means to relent from this harm. Dial it down, bring it in some. Because what they did was crazy. They deserve to be killed, absolutely. But be merciful. Don't kill them, just whoop them a little bit. In verse 13, remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thine own self, and sayest unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. So now he's calling to remembrance, not as though the Most High forgot, but he's calling into remembrance the Most High's own words, right? If you're going to multiply this people to be a great nation, to be to multiply and to give this people a promised land, not just any people, but this people in specifically. So I ask you, don't kill them off and start over with me, but be merciful. Punish them, yes, but don't kill all of them. Eliyahu, I saw you. You put your hand up. Yeah, I need his hands.
So actually, can't hallelujah. And I'm only doing this because I want y'all to keep up with what Dawood mentioned earlier, which is, so you remember when the children of Israel in this moment initially sinned, the Most High like, oh, these ain't my people. Moshe, these your people. Mm-hmm. But see how perfectly Moses does his job. Read verse 11 again.
Verse 11, and Moses besought Yahuwah his Elohim and said, Yahuwah, why doth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand?
Moshe reminded Yahuwah, these are your people. These are your people. Why is your wrath so waxing so hot against your own children? You know, so and then you'll see it's gonna go from Yahuwah to Moses, these are yours, from Moshe to Yahuwah, these are yours, and then from Yahuwah to Moses, the people, yeah. Right?
Okay. So in verse 14, and Yahuwah repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. So just like Eliyahu was saying, they aren't either of ours. So just like Eliyahu was just saying, the Most High, after Moses intercedes on behalf of the children of Israel, because that's literally what he just did. He became an intermediary or a mediator. He stepped in between the Most High and the children of Israel. Now the Most High, he's like, okay, you did your job. And he says that the Most High repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. So now he's accepted them again. Now, the funny thing is, remember what I said about what that repentance is. It means don't forgive them completely and not punish them. No, because we know that that's not how the Most High works. We've seen many examples of that with David alone. When he tell David, what would you do to a man if he stole a neighbor's goat and didn't share with the? Surely I bring that man before me, I'd put that man to death. Okay, well, that man is you. Ooh, I'm sorry. Well, even though you're sorry, you need to pick one of these three. Is it going to be a famine for 3 months, or for 3 days? Am I going to kill people, or for 3 hours? Something got to happen. So you don't just get off like that. So even though that's the case, he said, I'm going to repent for this, meaning I'm going to dial it back. They still going to get punished. Watch how long it takes. Verse 15. and this is awesome. Verse 15. And Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of the testimony were in his hand. The tables were written on both their sides, one on the one side and on the other were they written. Watch this. This goes to something that Eliyahu said, I believe it was last Sabbath. And the tables were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim, graven upon the tables. So when anybody ever asks you, who wrote the law? The Most High did. Oh, you're saying that he inspired? No, I'm saying he wrote it with his own finger. You see right here in verse 16, it says, and the tables were the work of Elohim. And just in case you didn't understand what that meant, it says, and the writing was the writing of Elohim, meaning the Most High made the tables themselves, made the 2 tablets themselves, and he also wrote on them front and back. So the law came from the Most High. He wrote it. He gave those tablets to Moses. So verse 17, and when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp. And he said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is it the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. Remember what we read back in verse 6. And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. So they are down here having a great time. They are down here worshiping and serving them this calf or these calves. And they're having a great time. And Joshua was saying, it's not a sound of war. It's not a sound of sorrow. He said, they're down here singing. They're having a great time. And it came to pass, verse 19, as soon as he came nigh to the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing. And Moses' anger waxed hot, and he cast the tables out of his hand and brake them beneath the mountain. So now we see that Moses has talked down the Most High. All right, you don't be so angry with them that you're going to kill all of them. But when Moses gets down, and this is what it means to have the mind of the Most High. This is what it means to have the mind of Yahweh. When Moses came down and he saw what they were doing, because prior to this, the Most High didn't show Moses what the children of Israel were doing. Moses couldn't hear them. He couldn't see them. All he knew is what the Most High said. They down there acting a fool. You need to go down there and get your people. Now that Moses can see it and he can hear it, now Moses is angry. So what the Most High saw upset Moses when he saw it. And that's how we should be. You hear it all the time in church. I want to love the things that the Most High love. And I want to hate the things that the Most High hate. I want to be sad by the things that make the Most High sad. This is exactly what Moses is doing. He's exhibiting that characteristic verbatim to the T. When he saw what the Most High saw that the children of Israel were doing, he was pissed. Verse 20. And he took the calf which they had made and burnt it in the fire and ground it to powder and strawed it upon the water and made the children of Israel drink of it. First off, wow, this is how mad Moses was. When Moses came down, he took the golden calf, threw it in the fire, and then he ground it to powder. We're still talking about solid gold. He beat this thing into a powder, then threw that powder in the water, and then he made the children of Israel drink it. We still talking about a ton of people. Moses made all of them drink this golden calf powder that he just tossed them, that he, like seriously, like just think about that. He took a golden calf, threw it in the fire, and then he beat it to powder. Now, I don't know if you guys know much about metallurgy or power tools, but there's a tool called a planishing hammer that is this huge hammer. It's mechanically driven, and you use that to smash metal down. Even that machine doesn't turn metal into powder. Moses beat this thing into powder. That right there is amazing. Verse 21. And Moses said unto Aaron, what did this people unto thee, that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them? Right here, Moses is giving Aaron the benefit of the doubt. Moses, Aaron, you're high priest. You know better. You understand the relationship that we have with the Most High. I'm not even asking you, what did you do? What did they do to you to cause you to go against the Most High? And to cause you to make them commit such a great sin. This is number one on the list. This is number one commandment. Don't have any other Elohims before me. So Aaron, what did they do to you to make them this thing, to get them to commit the worst sin you could possibly do? They made that. How? Number one, what did they do? Now listen at Aaron. Listen at Aaron. And Aaron said, let not the anger of my Lord, right? Now this is my sovereign. This is talking about, because this is the relationship that Aaron and Moses had. We see that all the way back earlier when the Most High made Moses a god unto Aaron and unto Pharaoh. Aaron was Moses's prophet, right? Moses was the mouthpiece. Moses was the God, right? So Aaron says, let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. Already Aaron is like, let me wiggle my way out of this one. This is, I don't want to be blamed for this. Verse 23, for they said unto me, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. That part is absolutely true. That part is absolutely true. Verse 24, and I said unto them, whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me, then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. Really, Aaron? Really? All you did was threw the gold in the fire, and out came a calf. It just came out on its own. Even though we know from the previous few verses that Aaron graven it. He used the graving tool and he made it. But he's telling Moses, man, I just threw it in the fire and out came a calf. One thing what we take from this is that the best of lies contains a little bit of truth. So you have to be careful. You have to be diligent in your study so that you can recognize that lie. Like, dude, yeah, all right, you did put some truth in it, but the rest of that is a lie. And I know better. So verse 25. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. Now, what we got to understand right here in verse 25. In verse 25, this word naked, it has a few definitions. One of those definitions is uncovered. After your point. Okay. Dawood, you go ahead.
I just said after your point because I'm going somewhere else. Go ahead.
Okay. So right here, this naked, it means uncovered. Not necessarily uncovered of your clothes or of your garments or of anything. It does not mean that they're out here butt naked in the wilderness. Now there are a few clues to this. One of them, it says, for Aaron had made them naked, right? We don't see anywhere that Aaron said, hey, look, you guys take off your clothes, get naked, and party around down here. And then the other clue is that made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. Remember where the children of Israel are going. The children of Israel are walking through the wilderness. They're headed toward the land of Canaan, to the promised land, and they have to walk through or past several of their enemies. The Philistines being one of them, the Girgashites, the Jebusites, the Amorites, there are a few of them. So these are the enemies that they are around, like literally their enemies are around them. So them being naked does not make their enemies any more or less their enemies. Them not having any clothes, but them being uncovered. Now, uncovered from what is the issue? So let's turn to 2 Chronicles chapter 28, and we're going to go to verse 16. And Dawood, don't forget your point. So 2 Chronicles chapter 28, starting at verse 16, 1-6. Oh. All right. And it reads, at that time did King Ahaz send unto the kings of Assyria to help him. For again, the Edomites had come and smitten Judah and carried away captives. The Philistines also had invaded the cities of the low country and of the south of Judah, and had taken Beth Shemesh and Ahalon and Gederoth and Shako with the villages thereof, and Timnah with the villages thereof, Gimzo also and the villages thereof, and they dwelt there. So this is a little bit of the backstory. It's King Ahaz at the time. He was in need of help because of all these armies were coming down on him. So he sent to the king of Assyria. He sent unto the king of Assyria some of the things that were in the temple, things that he should not have sent. He sent that to them so that they would help him, but they wouldn't. Now, the thing that he had done was he committed a sin by taking those goodly things, that silver and gold, out of the temple to send for help. Now, verse 19. For Yahuwah brought Judah low because of Ahaz, king of Israel, for he made Judah naked and transgressed sore against Yahuwah. So here it is right here. We know that King Ahaz did not make the children of Israel strip down and take all their clothes off, because the point is that the Philistines and the Edomites are taking over sections of the city. They're taking over pieces of Jerusalem at this time, right? So we see that it's not that they were made, that they stripped all of their clothes off. They were naked because they were uncovered because what King Ahaz had done. Because he took the gold and silver out of the temple, now the Most High is upset at them, and he is not covering them, meaning he is not protecting them. So when we go back to Exodus 32 and verse 25, and when Moses saw that the people were naked because of what he saw and what they had done, because they had, the Most High just told them, go down there and get your people because they out here, they acting crazy. Let my anger wax hot so that I may see how to deal with them. He knows that the Most High is about to punish them. So they are no longer being protected by the Most High, especially with all their enemies around. This is not a good thing. Our enemies are around us, and at any point they can come in and crush us if we are not covered or protected by the Most High. So Moses has saw this. Dude, right now, you guys don't know this, but we're unprotected. We have lost our power. We have lost our ability to defend ourselves because that comes from the Most High. So they are naked unto their shame among their enemies. Why is it shameful? Because your God just brought you out of Egypt mightily. Now y'all out here in the wilderness acting a fool. Now he's going to leave you all. And if our enemies come out here and see that we are not protected, we are done for. How shameful would that be? Your God did all of that to destroy the Egyptians, to bring you out. And now here you are out here in the wilderness. And then we going to come up and we're going to go ahead and tear y'all apart like y'all are nothing because you're unprotected. You're uncovered. That's what that naked means right here. It means they are uncovered and unprotected by the Most High. And your enemies are out here and you out here shaking in the breeze. Dawood, you were about to bring something out?
Okay. So you know how like we'd be like people around trying to see what he doing and stuff like that. I don't want it to be missed. Joshua on the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's also being trained, right? So Moshe was just being trained in the presence of the Creator. Now, Joshua is all with his hearing, because he said, I hear war. Why? Because that's all he knows. All Joshua knows is war, because he's a war. So the same way that we have to be aware of, for parents, like if you're cooking, which child continues to come in the kitchen while you're cooking, trying to, see what you're doing and want to help and stuff like that? It's because they want to be trained in what it is that you're doing. And maybe they are supposed to be the one that takes over once you are done with your task. So I just don't want it to be missed. And as we continue in the portion and portions coming up, just keep an eye on Joshua and the things that the Most High has him do, and the places that the Most High allows him to go, where nobody else can go but Moshe.
Okay, absolutely. He's Moses' understudy, for lack of a better term. But Cain, absolutely, all praises. So verse 26. Yeah, verse 26. Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on Yahuwah's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And he said unto them, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses. And there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men. Pause. Well, right here. Is this the result of, well, I'll rephrase it. Whose anger is this a result of? The 3,000 men that died that day. Whose anger is that a result of?
Moses.
Absolutely. That is Moses's judgment on the children of Israel that day. That is not the Most High's judgment. That is not the result of his punishment. And you're going to see right here in verse 29. For Moses had said, consecrate yourselves today to Yahuwah, even every man upon his son and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day. So this is something that Moses set up. I want all of you guys to be together. This is what I want. I want the men to be together over here. This way for Levi and us, it's going to be easy to go out and slay these dudes because they're going to all be together. We're going to go in and out of the gate, slaying and killing as we need to. And it's not going to be hard because they're all going to be together and they're consecrating themselves. So this is something that Moses set up. And you're going to see this in a few verses. So verse 30, and it came to pass on the morrow that Moses said unto the people, ye have sinned a great sin. Right? He said that again. This is number one on the list. And now I will go up unto Yahuwah peradventure. I shall make an atonement for your sin. And Moses returned unto Yahuwah and said, oh, this people have sinned a great sin and have made them gods of gold. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. And the Lord said unto Moses, and Yahuwah said unto Moses, whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. So this is showing us two things. One, we see Moses' character, like Moses' desire to be exactly in everything that the Most High wanted him to be, the Most High called him to be. So everything that the Most High saw in Moses, all the way back when he said, Moses, I'm sending you to go to Pharaoh. And Moses was like, are you sure you want to send me? Everything that the Most High saw in Moses back then, of course, because he planted it there, he knew that Moses had it in him and that Moses would one day live up to that. Here it is, Moses, fulfilling on that promise or fulfilling on that the Most High gave to him. He's asking about, he's like, if you will not forgive their sin, put it on me. Take my name out of the book. Almost gave it away. Take my name out of the book. The other thing that we see here is what book is there's a few things. What book are Moses and the Most High talking about?
If you had a look at the room.
I'm not even gonna pretend. I don't know what that says. What that means.
What'd you say, Daoud?
He was laughing.
Well, I laughed. I mean, I do know what it means, but I'm waiting on somebody else to answer.
Lamb's Book of Life.
Hey, it means the Lamb's Book of Life. Is that what that is in Hebrew, Aliyahu?
That literally means book of remembrance.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Malachi 3:16.
16, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So another place, let's go into Revelation chapter 21 and verse 27. So you said Malachi 3:16 as well. Turn to Revelation, and I'm looking at this for myself.
Revelation
21 and verse 27. Huh. Cain, same book. Okay, Revelation 21 and 27. And it reads, and there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. This is talking about those who may enter into the kingdom, right? And that's what Moses and the Most High are negotiating. Well, this is what Moses is attempting to negotiate with the Most High. He's saying, if the children of Israel, if you don't forgive their sin for what they just did, then blot my name out of the book, right? Because if you blot my name out of the book, then I won't make it into the kingdom. That's what he's asking the Most High to do. Take me instead of all of them. And that is, if that's not a sentiment shared by Hamashiach, I don't know what is. Because he literally came down and gave his life in exchange for ours. And that is what Moses is offering right here. But then you see what the Most High's mindset is. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, I'm back in Exodus 32, verse 33. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. This is why you get scriptures that say, study to show yourself approved, or work out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling. I cannot go to the Most High on your behalf, especially when it comes to the day of judgment. I can't get you into heaven. No one else can get you into the kingdom or keep you out of hell. That's for you. And Most High is saying that it's whoever has sinned against me, Moses, that person, they have to deal with me. You can't deal with me on their behalf. No, they committed the sin. They knew better. They have to pay those consequences. You can't, no matter how much praying you do, no matter how much negotiating you do, you cannot save somebody else. All we can do is give them or give you the information, show you the law, show you the scripture. Now it's up to you to change your life accordingly, because otherwise, if you don't, where are you going? Aliyahu?
Okay, hallelujah. Would you finish your point?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Hallelujah. This is just a little tidbit about the book. It's called the Book of Remembrance, right?
Mhm.
Now, I'm gonna share something that I learned. It's called the Book of Remembrance. This is gonna go somewhere totally different, but it's called the Book of Remembrance. And it's for the Most High. Yeah, the Most High doesn't forget. If the Most High himself has a book, so he doesn't forget, then who are you or who are we not to wear fringes to remember the commandments? If he has a book of remembrance, so he can remember, I won't use the term so he can, but so does remember, then and he gives us a law, you know, so that we may remember, right? So, I mean, he doesn't forget. He right? He's
Right.
all knowing, all wise, all knowledgeable, right? All seeing, everlasting. But he has a book to remember deeds, names, dates. And he gives us a commandment to do this two ways. Zakor et Yom HaShabbat le Kodesho, remember the Shabbat, or to put the fringes, the blue ribbon in the fringes on the four corners of your garments, so that you may remember the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim, to not go a whoring after your own eyes, and to not lust after other Elohim, which is again the first commandment, right? Hallelujah.
All praises. Dawood, I see you.
Okay. And Nabi, just don't be upset if you hear me say that what you just said to other people. I'm gonna give you credit, but I'm
I
most definitely gonna take that.
I won't be upset at all. Take it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you permission. Take it and don't use my name. You get the script.
all praise to God. But so first and foremost, I do agree with Nakimia. Just a disclaimer, right? On the other hand, the difference between Moshe and Mashiach, right, is Mashiach said, well, he didn't say it, but Mashiach came in flesh, right? And he gave up his temporal body, knowing that he would be given an everlasting body, right? Once he gave it up for the people. Moshe is different, because Moshe said, don't put my name in your book of remembrance, as Ma'at was just speaking about, right? Which, if your name is in the book of remembrance, as Moreh Nakimia said in Revelation, you have access to the kingdom. So Moshe is saying, I don't want the kingdom if you're not going, I don't want the kingdom for eternity if you're not going to forgive their temporal or temporary sin. And the Most High rejects it, because he said, no, if your life is worthy of my kingdom, you will be in my kingdom. And the person whose life is not worthy of my kingdom, they will not be in my kingdom. But if Moshe said, well, take my life instead it is for temporal, then that is a fair exchange. For the Most High deals in what? Just weights and balances.
Okay, absolutely. Go ahead, Aliyahu.
Hallelujah. And I'm gonna do what Zakani Yosef says. You know, it's gonna be a 30-second midrash off of what Dawood just said, and what Yahuwah literally said. But that is definitely Canaan Amen, or yea and true, right? But notice what Yahuwah says. He says, "He that have sinned will I blot out of my book," right? And so he does reject Moshe's plea, but you know, again, he's all knowing. He rejects Moshe's plea because he knows Moshe won't be sinless. He knows that Moshe is going to strike the rock at the time to come, and he knows that, you know, or because Moshe would have done that, he knows he's not going to let him enter into the promised land with the rest of with the Yeladim Yashra'al. Whereas with Yahusha, it's totally different. He knows he will keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. And so he accepts, I'm going to put it this way, his body that was prepared for sacrifice and offering. Hallelujah.
Okay, so just like Aki Dawood was just saying, he was like, you know, the Most High deals in weights and measures, in just weights, right? So right here, and what Eliyahu was just saying, the Most High knows that Moses, his weight is not equal to the weight of the children of Israel and what they just committed. It's not, those two don't balance out on the scale, right? Because Moses, I understand, right? You have the willing, you have the zeal, but I know you're gonna mess up. So you don't have enough on you to be that perfect sacrifice for the children of Israel. Okay, y'all understand that? Y'all get it? I don't want to confuse. I don't want anybody to be confused.
Oh, okay, real quick, just to add to, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And he knows that Moshe won't have nobody to intervene for him.
Wow.
When Moshe does what he does, who steps up and says, Yahuwah, have mercy on Moses, after Moses stepped up for them and said, have mercy on them, Yahuwah? Nobody.
Okay. Elder Yosef, I see your hand. These hands.
I just want to say, you talking about Moshe, and the Most High already knew. Yahuwah knew what was in it. And if you go back to first part of the Exodus, or you go back to where Yaakov talked about that the tribe of Levi had, it would cursed be your anger, that it was fierce. So then you jump on over to the book of Shemot or Exodus, and it says that a son of Levi married a daughter of Levi and had a goodly child. But that thing that Yaakov said followed him, the anger. You see how it just came down the line. So when Hamashiach came in, and that's when I used to say a long time ago, was Hamashiach perfect or was he perfected? So then you look at the two. That thing in Moshe was not perfected. It came down the line until we got to the point where he struck the rock in anger. Look at
he slew a man.
Absolutely.
And he slew a man.
But then you're talking about Hamashiach, who came from Yahuwah, just came forth, and he is the right hand. So then you look at Judah and how he moved. So like I say, there's a lot of perfection. There's a lot of stuff that we don't look at our bloodline and the things that our parents do and our great-grandparents do. What have we perfected so we won't experience what Moshe did by experiencing the anger or whatever the issue we have? So I just wanted to put that in perspective.
Okay, all praises. Where do we stop? 33. All right, so Exodus 32 and verse 34. And it reads, therefore now go, lead the people unto the place of which I have spoken unto thee. Behold, mine angel shall go before thee. Nevertheless, in the day when I visit, I will visit their sin upon them. And Yahuwah plagued the people because they made the calf which Aaron made. Now that is the Most High's punishment. Right there in verse 35, we see him and Moses have this conversation. Don't do this, don't do that, Most High. These are your people. And the Most High is like, okay, I get what you're saying. But then down here in verse 33, he was like, yeah, that person who has sinned against me, him will I blot out of the book. I'm not going to take your sacrifice. I reject your sacrifice. I reject your negotiation, your bargaining chip. I reject that. These people are going to have to pay for their own sins. And right here in verse 35 is when the Most High exacts that. He exacts that punishment. And he shows you why. This is still because they made the calf, which Aaron made. He still exacts that punishment. But in verse 34, what is that going into? Verse 34 is something that we don't see until much later in the scripture. And it's actually mentioned again in the next chapter. But verse 34 is starting on something. Therefore now go, lead the people unto the place of which I have spoken unto thee. Behold, mine angel shall go before thee. Nevertheless, in the day when I visit, I will visit their sin upon them. So what time period is this referencing? Not the day of judgment.
The wilderness.
It's in the wilderness, yes. What specific events? Remember what we just said about them being naked to their shame among their enemies. They are literally surrounded by their enemies, or they are walking or marching through their enemies' territories.
Is it the when I don't know the land, so I'm gonna be quiet.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We can help out.
Is it they're actually like getting ready to go through a certain part, and they ask them if they can pass through, and then they
Hey.
tell them no, they cannot.
This
They turn them away or something.
this is that whole time period. So remember, this angel this is the same angel that was the pillar of fire and the cloud that the Most High sent the children of Israel out with. Because remember, he says that there's an angel that I'm sending before you. Don't mess with him. Take heed to what he says, because he will not have mercy on you. Right? So this is that same angel. He's been with them the whole time as they walk through the wilderness. But in specifically, this is that time period when they are marching from the land of Egypt to Canaan, and they conquered those 7 nations as they walk through. This is that same time period. This is that angel. And we're going to see in the next chapter, he's going to make mention of it again almost immediately. Does anybody have any questions about chapter 32? Oh, wait, before we move on, after Exodus 35, can we turn to Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21? Right? And this is speaking to what the Most High said when he said, and Yahweh plagued the people because they made the calf which Aaron had made. So even though Moses has killed 3,000 of them already, 3,000 men have died at this point. Now the Most High comes through and he brings a plague with them. And this is something that is often overlooked. Sometimes you're gonna go through a rough situation because you've done something stupid that you shouldn't have done, and then you end up punished. But if that punishment wasn't from the Most High, you are still going to get punished by him. He's not just going to let it ride. So Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21. Yeah. And it reads, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. All right. So though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. And this is talking about from the Most High, the punishment that comes from him. So even though Moses punished the children of Israel, he killed him and Levi killed 3,000 men. They still had to get the punishment from the Most High. And that was the plague that he sent. Right? So even though you get one punishment, you still going to get this punishment that I'm sending to you. So does anybody have any questions about chapter 32? Or comments? Okay, let's jump into 33. And Yahweh said unto Moses, depart and go up hence thou and the people which thou hast brought up out of the land of Egypt unto the land which I swear unto Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, unto thy seed will I give it. And I will send an angel before thee, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in the midst of thee, for thou art a stiff-necked people, lest I consume thee in the way. Right? So verse 2 is literally Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 1. So let's go there. Because we see these are the same nations of people that we see that are surrounding the children of Israel, that they are literally, that the Most High is marching them through to get to the land of Canaan, which is known as the land of milk and honey. So Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. When Yahweh thy Elohim shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, right? This is the same land. And have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when Yahuwah thy Elohim shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. So as the children of Israel are leaving out of Egypt and they're headed to Canaan, they cross all of these nations, and the Most High is going to give them into their hands, but he uses an angel to do it. So there's an angel headed out before the children of Israel, and whatever nation they come across, they are literally prosperous and slaying all of these nations. He says, show no mercy unto them. So kill all of them. And so verse 3, and unto a land flowing with milk and honey, right? So we know that that's Canaan. For I will not go up in the midst of thee. So this is the Most High. He's saying that he's not going to go in the midst of the children of Israel. For thou art a stiff-necked people. Remember when he told Moses in the last chapter, for I have seen these people. They are stiff-necked, right? And he's not just talking about seeing them in the past. Told you he saw them. He knows our entire timeline. I know that in the future, y'all are going to piss me off. I know that. So the Most High says that I will not go up in the midst of thee. I can't, because I know at some point y'all gonna piss me off. And if I'm in the midst of you all, I'm going to consume thee in the way. So he knows that. So he said, all right, I'm gonna keep my distance. I'm gonna stay in my place. I'm with y'all, but I'm not in the midst of y'all. I can't deal with y'all like that, because y'all are just stiff-necked, and I know y'all are gonna do something that's gonna upset me. And yeah, when my wrath take over, if there ain't a Moses there to mediate on y'all behalf, well, I'm gonna get y'all. So verse 4, and when the people heard these evil tidings, they mourned, and no man did put on him his ornaments. For Yahuwah had said unto Moses, say unto the children of Israel, ye are a stiff-necked people. I will come up into the midst of thee in a moment and consume thee. See, he's telling them, I can't be around y'all like that, because y'all get on my nerves sometimes. It's just like a parent. Sometimes you say that to your children, go to your room right now, you get on my nerves. Right now, I don't want to deal with you right now. Just go away. Because if you stay here in my face, I might punch you in yours. I'm just warning you. Just go ahead. Same thing. The Most High is exactly like us. And he says, I will consume thee. Therefore, now put off thy ornaments from thee, that I may know what to do unto thee. And the children of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments by the Mount Horeb. And Moses took the tabernacle and pitched it without the camp, afar off from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of congregation. And it came to pass that everyone which sought Yahuwah went out with the tabernacle of the congregation, which was without the camp. So why did Moses take the tabernacle of the congregation outside of the camp?
Well, that was where he communed with the Most High, right? And that way did you know, if every time you see this person, they doing something that's gonna get on your nerve, the best thing for me to do is to keep y'all separate. So let me keep them over here and the Most High over here.
What
or
was
the place where he meets with me over here?
You're absolutely right. What was in the tabernacle of the congregation? No, not the tablets.
The Ark of the Covenant and all that, the cherubim and all that?
The Ark of the Covenant. Because remember, where would the Most High literally come down and his presence would dwell?
The Ark of the Covenant.
Between the two cherubim on the top of the Ark of the Covenant. So the Most High said, I cannot be in the midst of you. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to completely remove myself from you. I'm still with y'all. I just cannot do it. I cannot be in the middle of y'all. I cannot be in the midst of y'all. So in the place where I come and dwell with you guys, in between the two cherubim on the Ark of the Covenant, Moses, you need to take that outside of the camp. So when I do come down there and commune with you, I'm not in the midst of the camp. Because as soon as I hear something and one of them say something crazy, I might kill all of y'all. So Moses took the ark and the tabernacle of the congregation outside of the camp. That way that the Most High is not in the midst of it. Y'all see that?
I
Okay.
got a question.
Go ahead.
It said the stiff-necked children of Israel took off their ornaments, right?
Mhm.
What is that? What were their ornaments?
Now, I'm not 100% sure what their ornaments were. So, like, I don't want to say jewelry, but it was just things that they were wearing, for sure.
No, that's true. I'm gonna give you this one, and you'll understand why I'm giving it. The Hebrew word is edyam, and it literally means a head stall.
Oh, like their head coverings.
Yes,
Okay.
it literally means a head stall, something that covered their heads.
Okay.
But this wasn't just the priest, though. This was all the children of Israel.
Right. Okay. So they took off their head coverings. It's funny. So that they know what to do unto thee. Okay, all praises for that. Where did I stop? 7? Well, I'm sorry, Ali, was that all, or did you have something else with it?
No, that's all.
Okay.
Well, I just want to.
Oh, no,
That
go
is
ahead.
all, but I just want to make sure the point is understood. They're stiff-necked, but they had head stalls, and in this particular instance, they could not put their head stalls on. But that is all.
Okay. So verse 8, and it came to pass when Moses went out unto the tabernacle that all the people rose up and stood, every man at his tent door, and looked after Moses until he was gone into the tabernacle. And it came to pass, as Moses entered into the tabernacle, the cloudy pillar descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle. And Yahweh talked with Moses. And all the people saw the cloudy pillar stand at the tabernacle door. And all the people rose up and worshiped, every man in his tent door. Now, remember, this is why it had to be outside of the camp. Because when the Most High came down, if the tabernacle was still within the midst of the camp, he would come down in the midst of the camp. So in verse 11, and Yahweh spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. And he turned again into the camp. But his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. And Moses said unto Yahweh, see, thou sayest unto me, bring up this people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast also found grace in my sight. And that's funny. What Dawood said a little while ago, pay attention to Joshua. Like, and now that I'm like actively paying attention to Joshua, I see exactly what you were talking about. I see the steps being taken. Does everybody know what I'm talking about?
Yes, the position that Joshua is being put in as far as the future leader of the people.
And not only just that, but look at, in this particular instance, look at where Joshua is. But his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. So where is Joshua?
In the Mount of Transfiguration. I'm sorry.
he's in the tabernacle. He's in the tabernacle. Nobody else but Moses is in there. And Joshua. And the Most High. That's awesome. Like, so the whole time, now Moses asked this question to the Most High, and Moses said unto Yahweh, see, Thou sayest unto me, bring up this people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me, my understudy. Who's going to come up after me? Who's going to lead this people after me? Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast also found grace in my sight. Right? So he's at, who's coming up behind me? And the Most High is like, dude, you ain't paying attention. You don't see Joshua right here? I'm bringing Joshua right beside you. Matter of fact, the only other person in here with you and me is Joshua. Verse 13. Now, therefore, I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. And he said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And he said unto him, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not in that thou goest with us? So shall we be separated, I and thy people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Right? This again is going back into Deuteronomy 7. He said, your people are separate from all the people on the face of the earth. He's telling us, this is Moses, like we're on this journey among all these nations of people who they are our enemies, right? Even though at this point, up until this point, they have had no dealings with many of those nations that they've come upon or that they're coming upon, but they know that they're their enemies. Did you see that? So people are not your enemies, but just because of what they've done to you. These nations are their enemies, and they haven't done anything to them at this point. Aliyahu?
Hallelujah. Not right. So I just said this way, anything that you would be aware of from Genesis up until now.
Yes.
Because they had done something. So before those people inhabited that land was promised to Abraham's descendants. So they were squatting on our land.
Cain.
And not just squatting, they was kind of like playing the bully, you know, because remember, well, I won't say remember, but Ham, Canaan, correct me if I'm wrong, though, Ham or Canaan, I can't remember which one. One of them was like, oh, I like the land that was promised to Shem. And he said, I think I'm gonna go take that. And his dad was like, you better, no, it was Canaan. And Ham was like, you better not do that, because Noah put a blessing and a cursing on us if we was to do that. And so that's realistically where the curse of Canaan really kind of comes into play at. But he did do, you know, that other thing. But they were our enemies from this standpoint, because that land was not promised to them or their forefathers.
Cain, and they were just in there living in there, squatting, like you said.
Well, they was trying to do the opposite of Esau and Jacob. They was trying to say, this is our birthright, and this is our inheritance, but it wasn't. Didn't belong to them.
Okay. Cain. Dawood, I see your hand.
I'm just glad that you, accept my hand raises now, and you don't get mad at it. Okay, you are correct, Aki. That was Canaan who wanted to take the land. What I wanted to go and look at is when you said in Shemot, or Exodus 33, 13 through 15, right? It says, now therefore I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is your people. Once again, just throwing it back at the cradle. Look, it's your people. 14 and 15. Right? And he said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. Then Moshe said unto him, he said unto him, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. Now, the Most High just said, my presence shall or will go with thee, and I will give thee rest. Now, why would Moshe say, well, if thy presence don't go with me, carry us not up hence? Most High just told you he would. So why is Moshe saying, Well, if you're not gonna do this, then don't bring me nowhere. So, another disclaimer, right? Because I got to give disclaimers when I'm talking. I do not know Hebrew fluently. I only use the tools and I only use the tools that are available to me. However, using that tool, right? When you look at verse 14 and 15, that word for shall go, when the Most High says, my presence shall go with you, that word is yalak, right? Which means to walk. So in verse 15, it's a different word. Moshe is saying, well, if your presence would not halak with me, then I'm not going nowhere. Now, the funny thing is that both of these words actually mean the exact same thing. Like when you look them up, they mean truly the exact same thing, which is to walk. Halak and yalak, right? The only difference between the two is the yod and the hey. Now the yod is will or hand or deed, right? So the Most High tells us as Israel frequently to yalak before me. That means at the very basic level, keep my commandments. Very basic, keep my commands, right? Now the word halak is different. This is the word that's used with Enoch, where it says in Enoch, walk before Elohim. This is the word that's used, it's halak. Where it says Noach, walk before Elohim, this is the word that's used, halak. Now this word is hey, which means revelation or to have vision or to behold, right? So what Moshe is saying is that it's not enough for you to just walk with me and just do the bare minimum, Most High. I need you to give me revelation on what it is I'm supposed to be doing so that I can lead this people effectively and beyond what I would do at just a basic level. So if you're not going to give me revelation on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, then I'm not going anywhere. So you see that this is a higher level of communing with the Creator that Moshe is asking for, other than just the bare minimum. So I'll mute on this. Are you trying to yalak with the Creator, which is just do the laws, statutes, and commandments, as all Israel says? Or are you trying to have a true relationship with the Creator where He is revealing His will before you in your life and in the life of your seed? Are you?
Okay. So that goes to, like, all praises. That goes to, are we just walking before the Most High, or are we walking with the Most High? There's a difference. Elder Joseph, I see your hand too. Dawood done started a trend.
And with that, to commune with the Most High is going to cost you. As I say before, to get to those levels, you're gonna have to give up some things. No flesh will revel in His presence. So that's a choice that we have to make. But then He will present the choice. He will present it to you. You're gonna either say yay or nay. Just I'll yield the floor.
Okay, all praises. Verse, where do we stop? Verse 15? Verse 16. We stopped at 17. And Yahweh said unto Moses, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name. Right? So going with what Dawood just said, he just told Moses, I'll walk with you. Right? I don't, not necessarily everybody will walk before me, but I will also walk with you. Right? Verse 18. And he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of Yahweh before thee, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. Who knows where else we've seen that? I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy unto whom I will show mercy. Where else have we seen that sentiment? And this is one of those instances where it's blatant when you see it. It's not like, oh, maybe he was talking to Moses when he said this, or when they were quoting this. You see it's blatant. So can nobody remember where they've seen this before? Where the Most High says, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on
Devarim.
compassion. Not just Devarim.
No, I said in the 10 Devarim.
Oh, the 10 Devarim. Okay.
Or 10 commandments, and I will visit the iniquity upon the children.
No, not that one. Not that one. Not that one.
Go back to your father.
Go back to your father. What is that one?
No, I'm telling them to think back to their father.
Oh, yeah. Come on, what did he just say?
Abraham, something involving Abraham?
No, not Abraham. It says, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy.
That when Cain and Abel, when Cain and Abel did when he got the things for God that he asked for, and is that it?
Does he say that to Cain?
He didn't say- when he was,
I know what you're talking about. In Genesis, is it 4 or 5?
I think it's 4.
No.
No.
No, not that one. That's not what I was looking for. Nah.
Okay.
Oh, you talking about Genesis 4 and 7. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted. And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Not that one. Let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 9. All right, Romans chapter 9, and we'll start at verse 1. All right, just to establish the audience. We've done this before. Romans chapter 9 and verse 1. It reads, I say the truth in Hamashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Elohim and the promises. Now watch, verse 5. Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who is over all, Elohim blessed forever. Amen. Go down to verse 15. So we established the audience and who we're talking about. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of Elohim that showeth mercy. I think that we just checked out. So that is literally where it came from. For it is said for Moses said. Paul gives Moses direct credit. He gives him direct credit. For he saith to Moses. Right? This is exactly what Paul is talking about. He's making reference to this point. This is one of the ways that we know that the New Testament is just full of quotes from the Old Testament. It's just the New Testament is the Old Testament fulfilled. You're watching all of these prophecies come to pass that you've known about. So here it is. This is what Paul is using this reference to what the Most High said to Moses, telling that to the children of Israel living in Rome at the time. The Most High said he was going to have compassion on whom he was going to have compassion on. He's talking about you guys. He said he was going to have mercy on whom he's going to have mercy on. He's talking about y'all. You are the ones who are in need of mercy. You're the ones who are in need of compassion at that time. So I got to keep those two together. Make sure you note that this is that precept that Paul was talking about. Verse 20, right? Yes. And he said, so back to Exodus 33, verse 20. And he said, thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. Now, I don't know if you guys caught it, but this is something that a lot of people will say is a contradiction in the scripture. Right here in verse 20, and he said, thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. But if we go up to verse 11, the Most High says, and the Lord, and Yahweh spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. So what happened? Is there a contradiction? No, we know it's not. We know there's no contradiction. So what happened?
Didn't he come to him in smoke? He saw him in smoke.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean the cloudy pillar and the cloud that filled the room? Yes, his presence showed up like light and like a cloud. So yes. So what does it mean when the Most High said that he spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend? There's a big clue right there. As a man speaketh unto his friend. How do we speak to our friends?
In a language they understand, voice to voice.
Yeah, yes, in a language that they understand. That's one part of it. How else do we speak? Do we lie to our friends? No. When you talk to your friends, you speak to your friends with all sincerity, right? I'm telling you the truth and everything that I know. Even if it hurts your feelings, I'm going to tell you the truth. This is what that means when he says that he spoke to Moses face to face. It doesn't literally mean that the Most High came down, stood in the tabernacle of the congregation, and talked to Moses bodily, physical body to physical body, face to face. No, it just means that as I spoke to Moses, I told Moses the truth. I gave Moses direction. I spoke to him sincerely, as if he were my friend. That's all it means. I spoke to him sincerely in a language that he can understand. I didn't make it too difficult. I didn't try to go over Moses' head and teach Moses. No, I spoke to Moses plainly, face to face, as a man talks to his friend. Just that. It's a Hebrew idiom. Face to face. Because I cared about him. I spoke to him out of love, out of sincerity. I told him the truth. I told him simply. I made it plain for Moses. That's what it means. So in verse 20, and he says, thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. That was literal. That was literal. Aliyahu, the hand, the hand, go ahead, Doc.
Right, you are correct. It's a Hebrew idiom. But in simple terms, this is why the Most High appeared to Moshe in a burning bush. And then he talked to him mouth to mouth. It's a Hebrew idiom for how the Most High talked to all the prophets. He didn't talk like that to other people in Israel.
Okay.
Paneha paneim, or it's translated face to face, but from a Hebraic standpoint, it refers to mouth to mouth. So when Yahuwah was in the burning bush speaking to Moses in front of him, it was mouth to mouth. Or for Westerners, you probably prefer face to face. So he didn't see his face, but he was but Yahuwah was before Moshe in the burning bush, which is why he said, take off your sandals, because the ground where you are stepping is Kadesh, or set apart ground. So, and as you pointed out, as a man speaketh to his friend. So this is a reminder, or a clue in this is, well, who was his friend? Abraham. And how did he speak to Abraham? Face to face, or mouth to mouth, or Abraham audibly heard his voice continuously as Moses did. But all the children of Israel didn't have that. They didn't hear his voice audibly every day. Like how pastors be lying, you know, oh, the Most High just spoke to me. Okay.
The way you just slid that in there was perfect. That was perfect. The way they just, be lying. All praises. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You didn't. It was perfect. But if you read Isaiah 6:1, people might say, well, see, here's a contradiction. Well, Isaiah was a prophet, so it means the same. In Isaiah 6:1, it says, Isaiah was I also saw Yahuwah, and his train was filled with esteem, but he says, I saw him, So they'll say, see, here's a contradiction. No, it's not a contradiction. It's just you have to understand that Hebraic idioms, and as you pointed out.
Okay. And it's like, that's a vision.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't you got to understand something. And we're about to read what happens if you see the Most High's physical. But dude, you in the physical, the Most High, there's way too much power. There's no point in even trying to do it. The scriptures does it even better. Let's continue on. Verse 21. And Yahuwah said, behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock. And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and will cover thee with my hand while I pass by. And I will take away mine hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. Now this, you got to get a hold of this. You got to get a hold of this. This is what happens when the Most High physically brings too much of himself here to where we can see it, or where we can comprehend it. This, what he's about to show Moses, was too much for the planet. Like literally, it was too much. And he didn't show Moses all of it. This is my glory, right? This is just my glory. And then I'm gonna show you my back parts. You want to see the back of me and my glory. That was just too much. The Most High could not. He has too much power. He cannot bring all of him here and any of us make it. It just wouldn't. It just wouldn't. Like how Hamashiach said that if you say to that mountain, throw yourself in the water, it will get up, jump into the water just because you said it. Just imagine if the Most High stepped down here, brought all of him here. There's no way that nothing would be able to withstand that. Nothing. Does anybody have any questions or comments about chapter 33? No? All right, we're going to continue. We're going to get into this, and you're going to see, matter of fact, where is it? I didn't do it. Do me a favor. Where is it when the Most High, when he really comes down and he shows it and he says, and the earth quaked and the wind blew?
That's 19. Oh.
No, it's when he actually comes by to show Moses.
To show Moses or Moses and the children of Israel?
No, just Moses. Because he's telling them he's leading up to it right here, but then he actually does it. Oh. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
You mean then when he spoke in his still small voice?
Is that it?
That's Eliyahu, not Moses.
Yeah, no, not that one.
Oh.
Because after the earthquake and then the fire, and he wasn't in the fire, and then the still small voice.
No, because if I'm not
That's
mistaken,
not what you think?
that's because
Okay.
that's the one where. So right here, he's explaining to Moses, when I do come by, this is like the precursor to it. But then he actually does it.
All right. Are you talking about when there was two crystal things of sapphire under his feet, and they ate with him?
Was that it?
It was smoke, and it was smoke from the furnace, and there was a paved work of sapphire under his feet.
I don't know. What? Where's that?
Hold on.
I thought this was.
No, that's not it. I mean, there is Exodus 19. I'm not sure if that's the one you're looking for, but that's Moses and the children of Israel.
That's when the mountain quaked and the fire and the thunderings and all of that. I must have just like made this up in my head. Okay, well then that was it. that was it. I must have like seriously imagined this or have come up with this great story in my head of when the Most High actually shows himself, when he actually does this. Okay.
So Elijah, he shows himself to Elijah, and then there was an earthquake and then a fire, but he wasn't in the earthquake or the fire, and then there was a still small voice.
And then I thought it was, and then he passed by.
Yes, that was the lot to Elijah, though.
Okay, I'm sorry. What is that?
That's in First Kings 19.
Okay, then that must be what it is. First Kings 19 and like 12.
Yeah, 11, 12.
Yes, that was it. Wow. I was like, I know I'm not bugging. Thank you for that. And I apologize for saying that's not what it was. And it's actually what it is. So turn to First Kings chapter 19 and verse 11. So we'll start at verse 11. So First Kings chapter 19, verse 11. I was like, I know I had seen this. Whew. And it reads, and he said, go forth and stand upon the mount before Yahuwah. And behold, Yahuwah passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains and break in pieces the rocks before Yahuwah. But Yahuwah was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. But Yahuwah was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But Yahuwah was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it was so, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entering in of the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him and said, what dost thou hear, Elijah? Again, no man can see the Most High's face and live. Elijah wrapped his face with his mantle. Right? Like, dude, I'm not even about to pretend to make that mistake. But here you see what happens literally when the Most High brings even this too much of his presence. This is too much. He split a mountain. Literally split a mountain. And then the rocks broke in pieces. And then there was wind. And then there was an earthquake. And then there was fire. All of this just because he came down and brought just a little bit too much of his presence. Just a little bit too much. So the planet itself cannot take that. So when people say, oh, like Aliyah was saying, when you hear pastors and people say, well, I heard God, Now, dude, there's a lot in just that power, in just his voice. Remember, the children of Israel, all of them wanted to die just from hearing his voice. They saw the mountain and they saw the smoke and they saw the fire come up there and the earthquake and all of that. But then when he started speaking, they explicitly said, no, you talk to Moses and then let Moses talk to us. Because if all of this is just from you talking, we might give up the ghosts. We might die here if you keep talking to us. So there's a lot, even in just his voice. You can't just say, oh yeah, he talked to me every day, all the time. Like, no, you everybody ain't ready for that. Everybody is not ready for that from the Most High. So where do we stop? We finished out 33. Okay, so there were no questions or comments about 33, right? Or were there? Okay, let's go ahead into 34. Verse 1. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest. So again, right here, the only difference between the first tables and the second tables is that Moses made the second tables. The Most High made the first 2. Moses made the second 2. But then the Most High wrote the words on the second tables as well. So verse 2, and be ready in the morning and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai and present thyself there to me in the top of the mountain. And no man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mountain, neither let the flocks nor herds feed before that mountain. And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up unto Mount Sinai as Yahuwah had commanded him, and took in his hand the 2 tables of stone. And Yahuwah descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. All right, so let's see this right here. And we've heard this before, right? We read this just a little while ago, where the Most High said that I will come and proclaim the name of Yahuwah. He's saying it right here. What does he mean when he says, when it's said this way? And Yahuwah descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. What does that mean? And it goes into what we just read, how the Most High, what face-to-face means. It has a part of that, and a part of no man has ever seen my face and live, or no man can see my face and live. Beast. Does anybody go ahead, Mom?
I don't know. The short answer is I don't know, but could it be that the cloud is what was there near Moses, since the Most High was in the cloud? I don't.
Okay, that was a good guess. You started off in the right direction. Now I'm about to do something, and I'm about to show you something that's probably going to confuse the crap out of a few of you. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 5. And verse 37. Yes. Okay. The book of John, chapter 5, verse 37. This is Yahushua speaking. The book of John, chapter 5, verse 37. And the Father himself, which hath sent me, hath borne witness of me. Ye have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape. What does that mean?
I mean, all this time he was listening to Yahusha and seeing Yahusha.
So this is Yahusha speaking, right? And he's like, dude, ye have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his shape. Who is he talking to and what is he talking about?
I know I think he's talking about he himself was what he was who they were talking to, not the Lord himself, not the Most High, but Christ himself he was talking to.
Okay.
He was talking to the quote unquote Jews.
Right? He was talking to Israelites. He was talking to the children of Israel. Right? And he's saying, none of you guys have heard his voice or have seen his shape. Does this refer to Moses and Abraham or anybody prior to the children of Israel right now?
No.
No, it doesn't.
I'll say yes.
Why do you say yes? I'm not saying you're wrong. Why do you say yes?
Because those are the two people that he was it was said he was talking to in the word.
Well, here in the context that we're reading it, with Yahusha talking to, like Eliyahu said, the Jews. He's talking to the Jews right now. He's talking to Israelites right now. And he's telling them, ye have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his shape. In the context of who he's talking to, does this refer to Moses and Abraham or the prophets prior to this? Or is he talking to these people who are right here in his presence?
The people in his presence.
Yeah.
He's talking to the people in his presence. The people in his presence right now at that moment have never heard the Most High's voice. They've never seen his shape. But we just read that the Most High, he definitely showed Elijah. He definitely showed Moses. I'm going to pass by you and you're going to see my back parts. Many prophets, or Daniel said in Daniel, it's not 10, it's Daniel 7 and 9, where he describes what he saw in the Most High. I saw the Ancient of Days, and he did sit, and he had on a garment green like the beryl. So Daniel saw his shape, didn't see his face. So Yahusha is not saying that all of the people prior to this point, none of them had seen him. No, he's talking about these people right here. None of you all have seen him. But it's clear that Moses, Elijah, and at least Daniel and Abraham had seen his shape and they heard his voice. Right? So when he's talking right here, and he says that in 34 and verse 5, and Yahuwah descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. Is that the Most High talking about himself? Now, before y'all answer that question, Eliyahu, what were you about to say?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Is this the Most High bragging about himself, bragging about his own name?
I'll say yes.
You say yes. Why do you say yes?
Because he talks about himself. You know, he says, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving inequities and transgressions and sins. He's talking about himself.
It's not so much. Yes, you're right. I just didn't like the way you explained it. Can anybody help her in her explanation? I just didn't like the way you explained it. So yes, he's talking about himself, but it's not just casual conversation like, yeah, I'm the most high. You ever seen somebody do what I can do? It's not like that.
I agree with Belinda, but I mean, because he says he can swear by none greater. There is no name greater than his. So yeah.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 13. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 13. This is what is happening. This is what is happening when the Most High would talk to Moses. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 13. For when Elohim made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself. This is what's happening when the Most High was coming down, and he says that he proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. There's no greater name than mine at this time, right? Because we know that when Yahushua comes and he ascends, the Most High says that he's going to give him a name above every name. So right here at this time, that name does not exist. He hasn't given it to him yet. So what the Most High is doing, whenever he promises or makes a decree to Moses, he's swearing by his own name. It's not just that he's coming down proclaiming how great he is, because surely Moses already knows that. You don't have to tell me how great you are. I know. So whenever he makes a promise or a decree, he swears by his own name. That's what's happening. That's what verse 5 is going into. Aliyahu, are you sure that there was nothing you wanted to bring out on that?
On the what you just said,
or on any of that prior to that?
The only thing I was going to say prior to that was, Abraham wasn't a Jew and neither was Moses.
Cain. Cain, right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So he was in talking to those Jews that did not pertain to Moses and Abraham. You're absolutely right. They were not Jews. So verse 6, right? And Yahuwah passed by before him and proclaimed, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Elohim, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty. Ooh, right there. We just read that. Just because he forgives you of the sin does not clear you from being guilty. You did it. You still got to get the punishment for that. It's going to be less severe, but you still get the punishment for that. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children unto the third and to the fourth generation. And Moses made haste and bowed his head toward the earth and worshiped. And he said, if now I have found grace in thy sight, O Elohim, O Yahuwah, let Yahuwah, I pray thee, go among us, for it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for thine inheritance. Now we don't have to. And he said, behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among which thou art shall see the work of Yahuwah, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. Remember before, and I don't remember which lesson this was, I said that sometimes the word terrible can be a good thing. Then that's here it is right here. For us, that's a good thing, because he's going to do terrible things to the other nations. To us, it's a good thing for us. Verse 11. Observe thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Hittite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. For thou shalt worship no other God, no other Elohim. For Yahuwah, whose name is jealous, is a jealous El. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. Remember what this is what we just read a little while ago, in 32. In 32, 5 and 6, about those sacrifices and those offerings and what it means to worship another, or what it means to worship our Elohim. If you do those things, and this is what they were doing, what he's telling them to stay away from. You do those things to another El, I'm cutting you off again. Right? So that's why I tell them, take heed to yourself, stay away from them until they have been cut off, until we go through and we kill all of them. Aliyahu, what were you about to say?
I was just gonna say, can you repeat that? Literally what you just said?
Which part?
The very last part. Not that I didn't hear you. I heard you clearly. I just want you to repeat it.
You're gonna have to remind me what I said. So he says, take heed to yourselves that you don't go after, that you don't do what they do, that you don't worship and serve their Elohims, those other gods that they had. Is that part?
Correct. The Elohim of the other nations. And prior to this, sometimes we refer to them, we refer to the Most High as he is jealous, right? Mm-hmm. But in verse 14, he told us his name is jealous. And so making a reference to the same reference that you just made, when they made that calf, what did they call it?
Called it Yahuwah.
Right. And that was a huge no-no. Huge no-no, because even his name is jealous. Not just his character, his personality, but his name itself is jealous.
Oh, wow. Could that also be tied into thou shalt not take the Lord thy God's name in vain?
Come on, man. You know, not that even. Yes, absolutely.
Gotcha.
But if you catch what I'm saying, as you brought out eloquently in the beginning, to do these things to another Elohim was a huge no-no for the children of Israel. And we was not to serve, I hope everybody hears this, we was not to serve their Elohim. You know, now, the other nations are well familiar with this other entity, this other character. Very well so, yeah. You know. And, so, right. But hallelujah.
All praises. All praise to the Most High. Jania, I saw your hand.
Oh, no, you guys already said
it. Oh, no. Okay. All praises to the Most High. Where was I? Where did we stop? 16. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their els, and make thy sons go a whoring after their els. Thou shalt make thee no molten Elohims. The feast of unleavened bread shalt thou keep. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee in the time of the month Abib. For in the month Abib thou camest out from Egypt. All that openeth the matrix is mine, and every firstling among thy cattle, whether ox or sheep, that is male. But the firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with a lamb, and if thou redeem him not, then shalt thou break his neck. All the firstborn of thy sons thou shalt redeem, and none shall appear before me empty. I just moved. Okay. 6 days thou shalt work, but on the 7th day thou shalt rest in earing time, and in harvest thou shalt rest. And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end. Thrice in the year shall all your men children appear before Yahuwah Elohim, the Elohim of Israel. For I will cast out the nations before thee and enlarge thy borders. Neither shall any man desire thy land when thou shalt go up to appear before Yahuwah thy Elohim thrice in a year. All right, now stop. Stop right here. What we just read from 22, actually from this whole part from 15 14, from 14 down to 25. These are all what?
You're gonna give it away.
I'm not gonna give it away. These are all what?
Laws and commandments.
Commandments.
These are all laws and commandments. Shabbat Shalom, Keisha. We are in Exodus at this point, Exodus 34 and 25. So we just read commandments, right? And he says in these commandments, when we get to the bottom of these commandments, thrice in a year, verse 23, thrice in a year shall all your men children appear before Yahuwah your Elohim, the Elohim of Israel. For I will cast out the nations before thee and enlarge thy borders. I need you guys to catch this. If you're doing these commandments that he just mentioned above, he is going to cast out the nations before thee and enlarge thy borders. So that's one thing. I'm going to move all these other people out of your way. I'm going to get them out of the land that I promised you. I'm going to put you in there. I'm going to do all of this. Remember, that angel is going before them. And that angel is doing all of this fighting and taking care of all of this. They just doing cleanup, right? I'm going to move all of this out of the way. Then I'm going to enlarge your borders. Not only that, neither shall any man desire thy land when thou shalt go up to appear before Yahuwah your Elohim thrice in a year. It's going to be so bad that even when you leave your land and head back to Jerusalem, back to the land of Canaan to present yourselves before me, those 3 times a year, nobody is going to try to take your land while you're not there. This is what we just read through and what we are reading through. This is the sentiment of 2 Chronicles 7 and 14. If my people who are called by their name, are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will heal their land. This is the total of that. This is why you cannot do anything, or you cannot expect the Most High to do anything for you if you're not keeping the commandments. I asked this question live last night on what was that, Facebook. I said, if you're not doing what the Most High told you to do, and you're praying and asking for blessings and asking for him to do something, if what you're asking comes to pass, who did it? Because the Most High said, if you ain't doing what I told you to do, if you're a sinner, if you're a worker of iniquity, I'm not listening to your prayers. That's John 9:31. I'm not listening to that. 2 Chronicles 7 says that if you don't repent and humble yourself and seek my face and turn from your wicked ways, I'm not doing this. Hosea 5 and 15 says that I will go and return to my place until they acknowledge their offense. And in their calamity will they seek me early. So if you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, he's not doing any of these things for you. Not only is he fighting for you, he's fighting for you, and then he's making it so that when you come and because you're still keeping the laws, because I said 3 times a year, you're supposed to appear before me. When you are doing what I told you to do, when you leave your land, I'm still protecting your land with you not even being there. So this is the sentiment, and this is what 2 Chronicles 7 and 14 is all about. People like, yeah, if I do all these things, people like, especially in church, they like to jump right to the bottom of 7:14, right to the bottom of verse 14. Then will I heal their land. Yeah, but what do you got to do in advance of all of that? There's more of what you have to do than there is of what the Most High is going to do as a result of what you do. Right here, these commandments that he just listed before, when we get down to verse 24, he's like, yeah, I'm going to fight for you. Then I'm going to enlarge your territory, enlarge your borders, and then I'm going to make it so that when you're not there and you're coming to serve me, that your land is still protected. Oh, this is physical land, Keisha. He's literally talking about the physical land that he's giving. He's talking about the land of Canaan. Literally, this is what he's talking about. Because remember, the 3 times a year, no matter where they were, right, the children of Israel had to come to where the temple was and present themselves before the Most High. So they were standing at this time. The land of Canaan is huge, but the temple itself was in Jerusalem. It was in Israel. Everybody who wasn't living in Israel at that time, because not all of the children of Israel lived in Israel. Everyone who was not living in the land of Israel at that time had to come from wherever they were, right? Remember the tribe of Gad, I believe it was, lived on the other side of the Jordan. They stayed over there. So even them, when it was time for Feast of Weeks, when it was time for Passover, and when it was time for what's the third one? Brain fog.
Are you talking about the third feast?
The third feast, yeah. It's Passover, Pentecost, and
Tabernacles.
Tabernacles. Thank you. Like,
Oh, right.
so all 3 of those times, all the men had to come to Jerusalem and present themselves before the Most High. So during that time, when the men were not at home, there was nobody, literally, there were no physical people there protecting it. But the Most High was saying, if you keep my commandments, when you come to present yourself before me, I'm going to keep all that protected for you. Not only is it going to be protected, but these other nations, they aren't even going to desire to have your land. He's physically talking about their physical land, their physical dwelling place.
Kelly, just chime in.
See.
So since we are in a foreign land, how do we do that?
How do we present ourselves before the Most High?
Yeah.
Keeping the feast day. Because remember, the caveat was we had to go to the temple. We no longer have a physical temple.
Yeah.
We are the temple. Right? Know ye, what is that? 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that you are the temple of the living God, of the living Elohim?
Okay.
So we are that temple now. So when we keep the feast days, so in regards to these 3, because there is no physical temple anymore in Jerusalem, that's not our land right now. Somebody, they've stolen it. Since there is no temple, we don't have any place to report. We just have to make sure that we keep those feast days. We have to keep them all, but because of what we're talking about, we have to make sure that we keep those 3. We have to keep those 3 and present ourselves before the Most High on those 3 specifically. Okay. All right. We stopped at verse 25. Verse 25. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leaven, neither shall the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover be left until the morning. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of Yahweh your Elohim. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. Now, anybody picked up on the theme on what we're going into again? Commandments. These are commandments. Verse 27. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, write thou these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel. And he was there with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water. and he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. So this is the second time when the Most High wrote down on the tablets, front and back, this is what he wrote. This is what he wrote. But I want to draw your, I want to draw your attention to something. All that he just said about the land, he didn't write that in the first set. The Most High didn't include that in the first tables. At least we don't see that here in the scriptures. In Exodus 20. We don't see that. He gives a little bit more in this second time that he wrote it. He gives a little more information. Right? So verse 29. What did he say? Oh, okay, I'm sorry, in verse 28. And this is pretty awesome. We see that Moses fasted for these 40 days and 40 nights. He had no bread, no water. He's just up there fasting, dealing with the Most High, listening to the Most High, watching the Most High write these words on these tables, just absorbing all of this coming from the Most High. Who else do we know fasted for 40 days and 40 nights?
Yahusha.
Yahusha, absolutely. This is the easy one. I was just testing to make sure y'all was still awake. All right, verse 29. And it came to pass when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses wist not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him. What is that? Okay, what that means is that his face shone, meaning his face was glowing. He had a glow in his face, like Bruce Leroy. Moses had the glow, right? But what does that mean? What does it mean that his face shone, that light was on his face?
It means that he was in the presence of the Lord.
And he received something, right? So he was in the presence of the Most High, and he received something. What did he receive?
The commandments.
He did receive the 10 commandments. What did you say, Mom?
Some of his glory.
Some of that glory rubbed off on him, but what was in it? There was something that Moses received that caused his face to shine.
Was it instructions?
Yeah, it was knowledge, it was wisdom, it was understanding. From spending all that time with the Most High, that's what he was getting. He was giving Moses instruction. Remember what Dawood just went over when he said what Moses asked the Most High for. I don't want to just walk before you. I want to walk with you. And that means giving me revelation and understanding and wisdom. And the Most High said, that what you ask, I will in fact do. So while Moses spent that time up there, he gave Moses, not only am I going to give you a new set of 10 commandments, but I'm also going to give you wisdom and understanding and knowledge. And it caused Moses' face to shine.
Is that also when he showed them the first to the last, beginning to the end? Showed them everything that was going to happen?
Oh, I don't know. Possibly. I don't know. But it's possible. But he definitely gave Moses knowledge, wisdom, revelation, and understanding, and it caused them to shine like that. So verse 31. And Moses called unto them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned unto him. And Moses talked with them. And afterward, all the children of Israel came nigh, and he gave them in commandment all that Yahweh had spoken with him in Mount Sinai. Until Moses had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But when Moses went in before Yahweh to speak with him, he took the veil off. until he came out. And he came out and spoke unto the children of Israel that which he was commanded. Again, this is that Hebrew idiom again, that mouth to mouth, that face to face. This is going into that he spoke that which he commanded. It means that Moses only spoke what the Most High gave him to speak. Right? I think there's a saying that goes from my mouth to God's ears, or from God's mouth to my ears, something like that, something weird like that. It's similar to that, but I only, just like Yahusha said, I only speak what the Most High gave me to speak. From his mouth, out of my mouth. That's exactly what Moses is talking about. That's what this is going into right here. So that from mouth to mouth, from face to face. Verse 35. And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone. And Moses put the veil upon his face again until he went in to speak with him. And that him is the Most High. So that is the end of chapter 34. So are there any questions about chapter 34?
Is the veil literally a veil, or is it another meaning behind the veil?
No, literally
Like,
Moses had to put something, Moses literally put something over his face to block that light, because I can't remember where it is, but it says that Moses' face shone like the sun. Like when he came down off that mountain after spending all that time with the Most High, his face shone like the sun. And he literally, the children of Israel were blocking, because they they couldn't stare, they couldn't look directly at Moses' face. So he had to put something on his face to cover his face when he spoke to them. So like literally that he wouldn't blind them.
I don't remember seeing that in the movies on when Moses came down with the tablets off the movie. I know I live okay, but I don't remember seeing it. But literally, I just wanted to know, like, maybe he just wasn't the right melanin. I don't know.
Charlton Heston did not put a veil on. He did not cover his face, right? They didn't show that. When he came out, he just had a beard. That was it. And his beard was long and white. That was the only transformation. But no, he literally had to cover his face when he spoke to the children of Israel. And Eliyahu, I'm gonna mess with you a little bit on this one. You notice that when he went back into the temple, he took that veil off his face when he went and talked to the Most High.
Think about what you just said. He took the veil off his face when he spoke to the Most High, but not when he spoke to the children of Israel. That's absolutely correct.
So yes, Jania, there was a physical something that he put to cover his face that he took off. He couldn't just do the John Cena, you can't see. He had to put something up there. So are there any other questions from for 34, or at this point for anything that we went over prior? Okay.
You said okay to me?
Yes.
Okay. My question is from John 5:37. Yahusha talking to the disciples about, ye haven't seen, the Father or heard his voice. So after once Yahusha was resurrected, once he became our mediator, then when, like, say when Saul had his meeting and was blinded and all that, was that then a Mashiach? And so okay, that was my question. Okay, I'm good.
That was Yahusha. That's what made that, like, so when I first read into that, that's what made that so amazing to me, because Yahusha was literally here on the planet at the time. This was not before he got here. This was while he was here, that he was able to speak to Paul through a blinding light, where, all the way in Damascus, on the way to Damascus where Paul was. Well, Saul at the time. So he literally spoke to him miles away from where he was. That voice was not the voice of Yahuwah, that was the voice of Yahusha. Eliyahu, you were about to say something?
I was just gonna say he was actually in heaven at the time when he spoke to Paul.
Oh, he wasn't here. That wasn't
Mm-mm.
during the time when he was on the planet.
Mm-mm.
He was in the Shamayim,
Oh, forgive me. Then I gave him too much credit.
but still, he spoke to 5,000.
Yes, he definitely had a powerful voice. And that was just 5,000 men. That didn't include the women and children. But
Exactly.
yes, my mistake. I'm gonna have to go back and read that. I thought that was during the time when he was here.
Now remember, Yahusha, he leaves the earth in Acts chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
For the rest of Acts, he's not on the earth. Paul's conversion is until like Acts 9, 10, or 11, something like that.
Okay, that is a good point. That is a good point. And I am not infallible. I'm not incapable of being wrong. I might have just built it up in my head and gave him too much credit. Okay. So yes, that was the voice of Yahusha, nonetheless.
He even says, I am Yahusha, whom you persecute.
Whom you persecute. Why are you, he says, why are you persecuting me? Why are you kicking against the pricks? Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay. Elder Yosef, Elder Yaakov, either one of y'all have anything you want to say, you want to add?
No, that was an excellent lesson. Refreshing. It's nothing like going back and hearing the word over and getting a different perspective. Hallelujah.
All praises to the Most High. If you're talking, I saw your square light up. You were muted. I don't know what you said. Okay. I guess there was nothing else. So if there's nothing else, Cynthia, I owe you an email. Celise, I owe you an email. I haven't forgotten. I'm gonna get those. I'm gonna send that to you. And Cynthia, I'm gonna send that as soon as we hop off of here.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions or comments or concerns or anything that anybody wants to bring up before we chime out, I'm gonna ask if Eliyahu could pray us out. Excuse me.
Shalom, I would ask if either you or Joseph could.
To pray out?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's no problem. Elder, you want to pray out?
I'll pray out.
Okay.
Naimia, blow the shofar.
I think my Isha picked it up and walked off with it.
It's right. Turn to your left.
Okay.
Let's go. And look 1 second. Turn to your left. Look up.
That's my left.
Up. Look up.
Up. He's still looking around.
Y'all not gonna do this to me.
Do you see it?
No.
Okay, look by the mirror. Luna.
Oh. Okay, mommy. I found it. I found it. Don't judge me.
Good to laugh. Good to laugh. All right, prepare your hearts and minds, family.
See, I told you I got that second sound. That was different. Okay.
Hallelujah. Baruch atah Yahuwah Eloheinu melech haolam. Father, we say thank you for the word. Let it go into our lave and write it upon the tablets of our heart. Father Yah, we thank you for all that are here, that assemble, and those who wanted to assemble. We thank you for their lives. Father, we ask you to take care of us through the week as we go through these perilous times. Father Yah, we thank you for peace that surpasses all understanding. For Father, the earth is in travail. May we be prepared, Yahuwah, to go forth as the earth finish their travailing, and that we will be seen by the people of the nations. Father Yah, we ask you to bless each and every one on this line. Let no enemy come nigh their camp. Father, we thank you for the word today, and may it resonate. May we move, may we do, may we be that which you have called us to be. We thank you and we honor you in the name and in the character of your son, Yahusha. We say, Amen, and so shall it be.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, family.
Hallelujah and amen. Okay.
Hallelujah.
With that being said, Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
In the heat.